Well, now I want to bring you a selection from Huckleberry Finn. Now, this is a book about a boy. Some of you have been boys, and the rest of you have had a good deal to do with boys. Now, Huckleberry Finn is the story of a boy who lived a great many years ago in the Mississippi River Valley. He was ignorant, unwashed, insufficiently fed, but he had as good a heart as ever any boy had. And he was the only really independent person, boy or man, in the community. And for this reason, I suppose, he was continually happy. Now, in this book, Huckleberry tells his own story, all by himself. You don't know about me without you've read a book by the name of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. That book was made by Mr. Mark Twain, and he told the truth. Mainly. Well, there's some things he stressed, but mainly he told the truth. Why, that ain't nothing. Well, I never seen anybody but lied one time or another without her Aunt Polly or the widow Douglas. The widow, she took me for her son and allowed she would civilize me. She cried over me and called me a poor lost lamb. She called me a lot of other names, too. But she never meant no harm by it. Well, then she dressed me up in some of them new clothes, and I couldn't do nothing but sweat and feel all cramped up. Pretty soon I wanted to smoke, but the widow, she wouldn't let me. She said it was a mean practice and weren't clean, and I should try not to do it anymore. Ain't that just the way with some people, though? They get down on this thing when they don't know nothing about it. She took snuff, too. Of course, that was all right, because she done it herself. Then her sister, Miss Watson, a tolerable slim old maid with goggles on, she's all the time saying, "Don't put your feet up there, Huckleberry. Don't scrunch up like that, Huckleberry. Sit up straight. Can't you try to behave?" Then she told me all about the bad place, and I said I wish I was there. She got mad then. But I never meant no harm. All I wanted was a change. All I wanted was to go somewhere I went particular. She said she was going to live so as to go to the good place. Well, I couldn't see no advantage in going where she was going. So I made up my mind I wouldn't try for it. Well, I've been going to school along about 4 or 5 months. I learned to read and write. And say the multiplication table up to 6 times 7 is 35. I don't reckon I could ever get any further than that if I lived forever. And then one night I lit my candle and went up to my room, and there sat Pap, his own self. He tore into me something awful for dressing up and putting on airs and going to school. And then he catched me and took me up the river to a little log cabin over on the Illinois shore. I never got no chance to run off. Pap, he was so handy with his hickory, I couldn't hardly stand it. I was all over welts. Once after he'd been drunk over in town, he come back and says how folks were saying there was going to be another trial to get me away from him and give me to the widow for my guardian. And then he got to cussing and says he'd like to see the widow get me. Whenever his liquor begun to work, he most always went for the government. This time he says, "Call this a government? Why, just look at it and see what it's like. Why, here's the law standing ready to take a man's son away from him. Man's own son. Which he's had all the trouble and all the anxiety all the expense, the reason. Guess that man's got that son all raised up, ready to go to work. Do something for him? Give him a rest? Well, the law up and goes to him. They call that government. Well, a man can't get his rights in a government like this. Well, looky here, there was a free nigger over there from Ohio. Mulatto. Most watch a white man. He had on the whitest shirt you ever see. And the shiniest hat. He had a gold watch and a chain. What do you think? Well, they said he was a professor in a college and could talk all kind of languages and knowed everything. That ain't the worst. They said he could vote when he was at home. Well, that let me out. Thinks I what's this country a coming to? Why, it was election day and I was just about to go and vote myself. I wasn't too drunk to get there. When they told me there was a state in this country where they'd let that nigger vote, I drawed out. I says I'll never vote again as long as I live. Them the very words I said. You all heard me. And the country may rot for all of me. Oh, I'll never vote again as long as I live. Old Pap, he was carrying on, so he never noticed where his old limber legs was a-taking him. He went head over heels over a tub of salt pork and barked both shins. Rest his speech is all the hardest kind of language. Then he let out all of a sudden with his left foot and fetched that tub a rattling kick, but it weren't good judgment. There's a boot that had a couple of his toes leaking out of the front end of it. Well, I run off from Pat pretty soon after that. And I hid out on Jackson's Island. That's where I met Miss Watson's Jim. He says he run off too. Well, I promised I wouldn't tell on him. I know that done wrong. Well, old folks would despise me and call me a low-down abolitionist, but I didn't care. I wasn't going back there again anyway.